Sierra Leone is last of 10, facing a lot of traffic to deal with onto the far turn. Boot to Cachet has made the top clear, leads at a length against the rail. Diddy a second by a head. Caitlin, her greatness, the leader. Caitlin, her greatness, leads at a length and a half as they go to the far turn, oversubscribed. His second and a half length. She feels pretty, third to the inside, pounces a wide fourth to the turn. War Campaign draws within a half length of the lead. Now matching strides, Kings Barnes moves up behind him on the outside. Epic Ride swings wide, just a touch between horses. Doorknock has to shift lanes along with Sierra Leone. Boot to Cachet still has the lead. Didia, English Rose toward the inside. She feels pretty. Has the lead in the final furlong. Kings Barnes in front. Final furlong of the Ben Ally Stakes. Boot to Cachet, 25-1 upset under Frankie Dettori. Sierra Leone comes forward for the lead in deep stretch and wins the Toyota Bluegrass. She feels pretty, a dominating performance.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. Jeremy Plonk here from Horse Player Now and Keeneland.com. We've got 3 great days of racing left for the 2025 spring meet at Keeneland, days 13, 14, and 15, wrapping up on Friday. There's a tremendous race for leading trainer, leading jockey. We'll talk about that in a moment. We've got a carryover in Wednesday's Toyota Super High 5, the final race on the card, $10,587 in the carryover. You can take down the first 5 finishers in the nightcap. We've got one of our key plays in that race, in race number 8, so we'll talk about that and more. Day 13 features sunny skies and temps in the mid-70s. We should be fast and firm for the racing on Wednesday. As we hit the final week of racing, and a handicapping note, 5 for 11 for us on Saturday before the Easter Sunday break. That got us back to 30% winners for the meet. We're down $9.92 going into the final 3 days in terms of the ROI. We want to get back up to plus. I think we've been a plus winner 2 of the last 3 meets here at Keeneland. Did not do so last fall, so trying to get back on top here. An 8-1 winner on Saturday that was a dead heat, so that kind of cut into our win price there, but we'll take that over a loss. A dead heat's better than an L, that's for sure. But one of our key plays on Saturday, boy, we could have used an extra half inch or 2 to get that one home. We've got a tremendous jockey trainer race right now as we get to the final 3 days of racing. Jose Ortiz, Irad Ortiz, and Luis Saez, each with 15 wins. Flavien Prat has 14. So 4 jocks in it to win it here over the final 3 days at Keeneland. All 4 riders are riding all 3 days of the meet. Nobody leaving early. In terms of number of mounts, they're very similar, all in that 6, 7, 8, 9 mounts a day. Irad Ortiz probably has a little bit of an edge. He's got 25 mounts over the final 3 days. So maybe Irad with the leg up on the jockeys race. We'll find out. Irad, Jose, Saez begin the day with 15 on Wednesday. 14 for Flavien Prat. As for the leading trainer, no surprise, Brad Cox, Wesley Ward tied atop the standings. They've got 9 each, but it's Brendan Walsh in the catbird seat, ready to pounce. He's got 8 wins at the meet. And when you look at the final 3 days of racing and how many races these top trainers are represented in, it's Brendan Walsh who's got the best shot. He's got 9 horses in 9 different races over the final 3 days, 3 each day. Cox has 8 races represented. Wesley Ward has 7 races represented. Now, Wesley Ward, though, is a strong finisher here at Keeneland historically. I looked at the last 4 spring meets and the final week of the meet to try to come up with some trends. Who's the closer? Who finishes strong at a Keeneland meet? Still has horses ready to rock and roll. Over the last 4 springs, Wesley Ward with 15 winners over the closing week of the last 4 years. So he's averaging almost 4 wins in those final 3 days. Keep an eye on Wesley Ward, obviously. Brad Cox has got 7, Bill Mott with 5. Interesting, Rudy Brisset's got 4, and Ian Wilkes with 4 in those closing weeks. So maybe Rudy Brisset, kind of the name that doesn't really fit in there. Maybe he's a guy who's got some horses saved for the end of the meet and strategically placed. Keep an eye on his horses. As for the jockeys, Irad Ortiz, the big closer, he's got 13 wins over the last 4 closing weeks here in spring meets. Joel Rosario, an interesting name in there with 12. Now, there are a lot more route races than we're used to seeing proportionally at the end of the meet. About 25% of the races are 1 1/8 miles or longer, either on the dirt or on the turf over the course of closing weeks during that time. And Rosario being such a good finishing jockey and a great turf rider. Interesting. not so much, that it's a good fit, to have Joel Rosario have that success. Plus, he rides a lot for Wesley Ward with some of these 2-year-olds, and Ward is a big closer, obviously, in the 2-year-old races. We'll talk about that coming up over the second race on this Wednesday card for Ward and the 2-year-olds. 108 races over week 4 the last 4 years, and 7 winners were horses running back second time at the meet. We see run backs do much better in the fall at Keeneland than we do here in the spring. There's plenty of more places to run right before the fall breaks. So I think the Keeneland fall kind of shoving that extra race in and trying to run back second time at the meet, more successful, and horses that have a better chance of being successful in the fall meet than we see in the spring. So 7 run back winners over the last 4 springs, in closing weeks. So we may see 1, we may see 2 max, but don't expect to see a lot of horses coming back second time at the meet with a lot of success. I do have one, though, that I think could pop on this Wednesday card. Speaking of that program, it's an 8-race card getting underway at 1 o'clock, of course. Let's take a look at the snapshot of the program, and you'll see my key plays. They bookend the program in races 1 and 8, and then dead set in the middle in race number 4. With an 8-race card, races 4 and 5 are those big swing races. You got to put your extra handicapping into those events if you want to take down the multi-race wagers. Race number 4 is part of all the early and late pick 4s and pick 5s. Same scenario with race number 5, part of all those different mixes as well. So you got to get involved in races 4 and 5 and come up with some keys. I've got one in race number 4 as a key play. And in race number 5, I think we might be looking at a morning line favorite who looks pretty strong. So maybe not having to go too deep in races 4 and 5 opens up playing those multi-race wagers. No carryover in the pick 6. It runs races 3 through 8. But a reminder, as we mentioned at the top, Toyota Super High 5 in race number 8, there is a carryover, $10,587. All right, day 13 promises to be lucky. So let's get into the picks for this 8-race program. Race number 1 kicks things off with non-winners of 2 lifetime claimers, 1 mile and a 16th the distance in this one. In non-winners of 2 lifetime races, whether you're playing Keeneland or whether you're playing any track USA, all the horses in the race have 1 win looking for 2. That's the max condition in a non-winners of 2. So I always try to remind people, look for the horse with the best maiden win, because that's the horse who's got the most accomplishment up to this point in their resume. That's number 2 in here, Pula. Pula was a maiden special weight winner at Churchill Downs. That matches up very well in this group of non-winners of 2 lifetime. And that's where I'm going on top in race number 1. Give me Pula in here, the deuce at 4-1 in the morning line. And it's going to be a key play for me right off the get-go. This horse does have 1 start at Keeneland on the turf, has never run on the main track here. But with Ghost Zapper on top and Super Saver on the dam side, certainly I wouldn't think there's any reason why this horse won't take to the action at Keeneland. And when you get these cheaper races, these non-winners of 2, the claimers, the maiden claimers, going long on the dirt here at Keeneland, a lot of surface switches have success. And so Pula coming off the turf races at fairgrounds, generally the turf races are more select than the dirt races. So it's almost like a double drop in class when you leave a turf race or take a little drop in class and come off the turf. So give me the 2 Pula in here. I like the price, 4-1 in the morning line. If we can get that. Irad Ortiz riding for trainer Phil Bauer. Bauer hasn't had much luck this year or many starts, had a tremendous 2024. He's trying to get back on the right side of things. Irad replaces Concepcion in the saddle, so I think you get a move up in rider here. Pula, top choice for me in the opener. No Pardon, the 3 is a Nyquist who is bred to like the track here at Keeneland. Ran over the track once last fall and was a winner for the $50,000 level. So that's one of the better maiden wins in this group, winning for $50 at Keeneland. Last time out at Turfway, drew the 10 hole, much better post position here. Second, first start of the year, second start since appearing here in the fall meet. But you almost have to treat this Rudy Brisset trainee number 3, No Pardon, as a horse who is almost like, just coming off a layoff and running fresh first time in the form cycle since he hasn't raced since December. And we mentioned at the top, Rudy Brisset, one of their trainers, 4 wins during closing week over the last 4 years. And he doesn't have a barn that has a tremendous number of starters, and he's 2 for 10 at the meet here at Keeneland. So how about number 3, No Pardon, one to keep an eye on here in the opener. I love Pula. I love No Pardon. Let's go 2-3 exacta box. And that doesn't even include the morning line favorites in this spot, number 1, Colonial Rose. So I think we've got a shot here to get some good bingo right off the bat. And typically first race on the card is not a great betting opportunity. I think it happens to be on this Wednesday card. 2-3 for me. And if you look across the way, Pula top choice for Kim, but for $1 a day, 5 sight to seat, picked on top by the other handicappers in here. I like our shot in here at getting a really fair number. A 2-3 exacta box in here, even though with a field of 6, maybe we can pull something in the mid-20s to $30 range out of that exacta, which would be absolutely fantastic on a key play. So let's look at that opener with some enthusiasm. To race number 2 we go. Second leg of the early pick 5 kicks off the early pick 4. Really interesting 2-year-old baby dash here. No question about that. So far, Wesley Ward has won 5 of the 7 2-year-old races at the meet on the main track. He won 6 of 9 a year ago. He's right on pace to keep doing what he's doing. So obviously, number 1, Gracie's Delight, a top choice in here for me. For Wesley Ward, filly by American Pharoah. Bullet works here. When Wesley Ward gets the rail in these baby races, it's unbelievable. 63% wins. He's 10 for 16, 13 for 16 in the exacta when he has the rail horse and a baby dash here at Keeneland. He wins 46% overall in these 2-year-old dashes. A lot of times he's running 2 horses in a race. So, some of his losses are even to his own horses. But 10 for 16 when he gets the rail with 3 second-place finishes. I'm not going against that. Gracie's Delight. Now, there are some reasons maybe to go against Wesley Ward in this particular spot because number 3, Nona's Love, is going to be a horse who gets a ton of love in here. This is a homebred for Rapoli Stable out by Caravaggio out of Nona Bella. This is a half-brother to Fierceness, who was the 2-year-old champion in the U.S. and one of the main players, Florida Derby winner, favorite for the Kentucky Derby last year. Nona's Love is a filly here who has an impeccable pedigree. Todd Pletcher doesn't run many 2-year-olds here in the spring. He had a long drought without running one here, but he won without work, a horse who ended up becoming a Wood Memorial winner as a 3-year-old. So he can run a good 2-year-old here. He has in the past. It just hasn't been too often. He had one earlier this meet. Pletcher has Nona's Love in here. This one's going to get a lot of attention, but give me the Ward speed from the rail. We're only going 4.5. We're not trying to find fierceness here at 4.5 furlongs. We're trying to find a horse who can get to the wire first and 51 and change, 52 and change. So Gracie's Delight for me, but number 3, certainly a lot of respect in here for Nona's Love. Also, Brad Cox has won Kontiki, the 11 in here. This is only the second time Brad Cox has run in a baby dash since Keeneland went back to dirt. He had a 3rd-place finisher back in 2021. Easy to say, Brad Cox, Todd Pletcher, Wesley Ward, all in the same baby race at Keeneland. This is one of the most anticipated 2-year-old dashes probably we've seen here since going back to dirt in the fall of 2024 and the spring of 2015 when we had the first 2-year-olds running. So a really, really interesting group here in race number 2. But you can't beat the Wards, right? I mean, it's just the way it is, the way these races have been. I'm not going to try to beat them here in the second. Let's go to race number 3 next on the program. Pick 6 gets underway here. 1 mile and 1/8 on the main track. Maiden Claimers going 1 mile and 1/8 in here. We don't get many of them running this far. 11 in spring meets in the past. 4 of them have been winning favorites. Fairly formful races in these maiden claiming route races going this far. But again, a very small sample size. Race number 3 will start the pick 6. No carryover. We start anew in the carryover. I went to the favorite in here, number 7, Spurgeon. This horse is 2-1 in the morning line. 0 for 7 maiden. I get that, but this is the first time in for a maiden claiming tag. This horse has been running all maiden specials. When you have maiden claimers going long on the main track, I always say nobody wants to be here. You just end up here. If you're a good maiden, you break your maiden right off the bat in a maiden special. If you have to drop into maiden claiming, that's a bad sign. If you're going long as a maiden, typically you're slow because all the maiden races basically are for sprinters, and then the longer ones are for the horses who can't win sprinting. So if you can't win a maiden special and you can't win sprinting, you end up in a maiden claiming route. So any horse who's already been here and already lost in a maiden claiming route, I'm kind of against those type, and I want to go to horses who are trying something new for the first time. Is this their first time going long, stretching out, sprint the route? First time dropping in class from maiden special to maiden claimer, that sort of thing like that. Maybe Lasix for the first time, maybe blinkers for the first time. You're looking for horses that are trying something different in here. And I think number 7, Spurgeon, the difference is dropping from maiden special to maiden claiming should be enough. Kenny McPeak has a really good record in these kind of races. So I'm going to back McPeak in this particular spot. Give me Spurgeon on top in here. McPeak, there's been 7 of these races at 1 mile and 1/8 since 2018. We said there's 11 overall for maiden claimers going 1 mile and 1/8 during spring meets on the dirt. But since 2018, the last 7 of them offered McPeak has won 3 of them. That's pretty sharp. And speaking of sharp, number 3, Midnight Survivor, the other one you want to watch in here, because Joe Sharp has a phenomenal record here at Keeneland over the years with 1.125 horses. He's already won 1 or 2 here at the meet at 1.125. Midnight Survivor 10-1 in the morning line, one to keep an eye on in here. But running back second time at the meet. This horse ran opening weekend at the 1.125 trip and was just okay in there. Maybe didn't like the sloppy track. Now gets a fast track going long for the first time. But give me the 3 Midnight Survivor as the underneath horse in here. 7-3, the way I like race number 3 in here. And again, this is not a bad betting race in a lot of respects. The 6, Cha-Cha-Ching, is 17-time maiden, but a horse who kind of gets a piece underneath. I certainly wouldn't play that runner on top. Spurgeon to me looks like the right one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Midnight Survivor runs a pretty good race in here. So I would go 7-3, too deep in the multi-race wagers. But if you wanted a single, you certainly could. And I will single the Ward horse in race number 2. Gracie's Delight. But if you want to include the Pletcher or the Cox in there, then maybe you're trying to narrow down more and you would single Spurgeon in this particular spot. But if you're starting to pick 6, I don't think any more than 2 deep. Spurgeon the 7, the 3 Midnight Survivor. Give me those 1.125 trainers as we stretch out to 1.125 in this maiden claiming contest. We're going to get our first turf race in race number 4, and it's also going to start the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Turf Pick 3 will be on races 4, 6, and 8. So we go right to the 4th race here. First level allowance, a mile and 3/16. Mentioned earlier here at the end of the meet, we get a lot of longer races, right? A quarter of the races over the last 4 years during closing week have been 1.125 miles or longer. This is a mile and 3/16 on turf. So again, 1.125 miles maiden claimer in the 3rd. We go to the turf and we're stretching out to 1.1 miles and 3/16. Stamina kind of in play, and trainers who win long races, jockeys who do well in longer races. Those are the kind of things that could give you a little bit of an advantage if you kind of do your homework and study up on those with some Keeneland stats. Use that free database that we have at Keeneland.com, sort through the different distances, and look who's been having success as we go a bit longer. You can also sort by date, so you can kind of go in and filter, and that's how I do it. Go into the Keeneland free database at Keeneland.com, the handicappers database. I go in, I click April of 2023, 2024, click on the last 3 dates of the meet, run all the numbers, and that's kind of how I come up with it. So it's anything that anything I can do with it, you can do as well for free. So be sure to take advantage of that free resource at Keeneland.com. Race number 4, I'm going with the 9 in here, Bulldoze. This is one I have a pretty decent confidence level in, and this is going to be one of my key plays on the card in race number 4. Again, pick 5 starts here. This is a swing race in the early and late pick 5. This is part of the pick 6. This is the first leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 on races 4, 6, and 8. And again, with a key play in here, give me the 9 Bulldoze, top choice. This horse came home exceptionally fast at 1.125 miles last time at Gulfstream Park. Second career start for the Nyquist Colt, and the final fraction in this race was 11 3/5, was absolutely flying on the back end of this race. That's tremendous turn of foot for 1.125 miles for a horse in the second career start. So while speed figure folks might look at it and just say, well, ran 70 first time, 70 the second, there was no pace on it here compared to the way this horse came home and absolutely flew home in that race. I think Bulldoze is going to fly home again and be extremely strong in here. So give me the 9 on top, Bulldoze. 5-1 in the morning line. I'm jumping to play that one. Tom Leach agrees with me. He's got the 9 on top underneath for Scott. But looking at all the handicappers combined, you've got the 2, the 10, the 9, the 8, all with top choices in here. We might get our 5-1. It's Iratted, it's Pletcher, so maybe you don't dream of 5-1. You probably get a little bit lower than that. But Chad Brown's got the 8 in here, early adopter. That horse is certainly, destined to take some money. Hot Property, the 12, a really well-bred Brad Cox trainee, a horse who's been off since January, ran in the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn prior to that. If the 13, Capitol Hill, draws into the race for Bill Mott, that horse is going to take some money. Another one that's really extremely well-bred. So there's a lot about this race that might keep our price fair on Bulldoze. 5-1 in the morning line. I'll take 7-2 and really jump in on this one. 9-8, the way I've got it handicapped. The 2 Coileds, 10-1 in the morning line, and Arnold Delacour got no pace help at all with this one at Turfway last time and still won. With a little bit of pace help here, the versatile Sire Hard Spun. I look for the 2 Coiled with a great post position under Ben Curtis, good rider. to have a shot in here with all the big name barns in here. Give me Ben Curtis and Arnaud Delacour underneath with coiled 9-2 all, 9 all 2. That sort of trifecta lineup. This is a really juicy race for me from a gambling standpoint. Again, love the 9 on top. I think the 2's a great price choice underneath. Gabby's got the 2 picked on top. Scott's got that one second. Maybe we don't get the 10-1, but with Cox in there, with Pletcher in there, with Chad Brown in there, you've got to get 6-8 to 1 on coiled in here. Could be the key underneath for me in the try. Again, 9-2 all, 9 all 2, kind of the way I'm going to attack race number 4, and then hopefully get some big bingo in there to juice up the potential trifecta payoff. Let's go to race number 5 next up on the card. Again, another swing race, part of the early and late pick 4, early and late pick 5. This will be the third leg of the pick 6. Race number 5 on the card is for $50,000 claimers, 6.5 furlong sprint in here. And the morning line favorite in here comes off back-to-back wins. I think this is going to be a tough one. Sharp Swinger. Mike Maker trains. This isn't the strongest field in the world, and this horse comes in on really good form. Back-to-back wins at Oaklawn. And by practical joke, this horse hasn't started over the main track at Keeneland, but practical joke, more than a 20% winner with a positive ROI here at Keeneland. You get Luis Saez to ride. Should be right up into the pace mix. Number 2, run of the house. Number 3, Sharp Swinger, should definitely be up in the mix. Speed dominates these kind of mid-level, upper-level claimers like this in sprint distances. There is some other speed in the race, but I don't expect this race to melt down and set up for a big-time closer. I think the horses near the front, one of them at least, will hold on and navigate to the wire. Give me the 3, Sharp Swinger in here. This isn't anything creative at 8-5 in the morning line. I just think it's the right horse for this particular situation. And at 8-5 in the morning line, just going to concede this one to the favorite. As for the other handicappers, Sharp Swinger, top pick for Gabby and Kim as well. The guys are going to try to take a shot against Sharp Swinger, picking that one second. 8, Complex Music. The 6, Take 5 Charlie, the top choice in here for Tom. Take 5 Charlie for trainer Wesley Ward. Comes off a win at Mahoning Valley in the career debut against fellow Ohio breds. Tom Leach taking that one. Will it be his long shot play of the day? Tune in to Today at Keeneland, 11:30 a.m. Eastern with Scott and Gabby. They go through the entire card and their analysis and also give you Tom's long shot play of the day. The Clockers report. Maybe we can see if Tom makes Take 5 Charlie his top play of the day. I'm on Sharp Swinger in here, but not a race I really want to gamble much on because I'm on a favorite. And I'm going to just try to get through race number 5 with the 3 singled and try to go through the multi-race wagers that way. Again, race number 5, part of all of these late pick 4, early pick 4, the pick 5s, the pick 6. I'm just going to try to get through that race. It's not a race I really want to gamble on, intra race. So we'll just try to survive that leg and move to the 6th. Race number 6, another marathon race, 1.5 miles on the turf. This is the second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. 1.5 miles, first level allowance race in here. I'm going with number 4, Tarnima. This is 2-1 shot in the morning line. The Gulfstream horses are the way you still want to go. They haven't been as dominant here at this spring meet in the allowance and maiden special weight ranks as we might have seen in some other spring meets, but still statistically, I want to lean to the Gulfstream horses in their class over the winter. I think part of that, maybe some of the lessening of the Gulfstream success is because they took so many races off the turf the last few years at Gulfstream, and they have the synthetic Tapeta course there now. And they just rely on the Tapeta course so much over the winter now and preserve the grass. And anything on the grass, they feel like they're not going to lose a big chunk of the field by switching surfaces. So I don't think the competitiveness of the Gulfstream races on grass have been as strong the last couple years. So maybe we'll see these stats and trends trying to shift a little bit where the Gulfstream horses aren't as dominant at Keeneland in the spring, but they were pretty darn solid last year. And this year, just not quite producing as much. But I think Tarnima is one we can count on in here in race number 6. Not to take too short of a price, though. 2-1 in the morning line. Tarnima, my top choice, but Romantica, the top choice by 3 other handicappers in here. Romantica, 6-1 in the morning line, also coming out of the Gulfstream ranks for trainer Mark Cassey. So I've got it 4, 6, 5, and 9. The way I line it up, I'm not taking the 3 Romantica in here. I'd be interested to hear the case of all the other handicappers who are jumping on Romantica. Maybe they like the 6-1 in the morning line as a value play, but if everybody's on the same value play, a lot of times it doesn't turn out to be too much value. We'll see what kind of price we end up with on Romantica. The 6 Sugaree, another Gulfstream runner in here, comes out of the same race as Tarnima, finished right behind that one last time. Makes the jockey switch from Javier Castellano to Flavian Pratt. And this is the kind of situation I think is a really big rider upgrade for style. No knock on Javier Castellano, veteran who's in the Hall of Fame, but I always like Castellano on turf speed. The closing style of Sugar Reed doesn't really fit Javier Castellano's strength. So while I say it's a rider upgrade going from Castellano to Pratt, that may not be the situation all the time. But Flavien Prat, the way he's riding in 2024, 2025, he's an upgrade from just about anybody. He is an upgrade from anybody. He's the best rider in the game right now, he and Irad Ortiz. So, I mean, it's no knock on Castellano to say that the rider upgrade to Flavien Prat could help this horse. But stylistically, I think it could really help. So Sugaree at 6-1 in the morning line. Another one for Arnaud Delacour. He could have a really nice day. He's got a shot in here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sugaree wins this race. I'm on top with the 4 Tarnima because Brendan Walsh has had such a big meet. He's going for the leading trainer title. He's got 8 wins already at the meet. He teamed up with Ortiz earlier in the meet to win with Jin last week in the Double Dog Dare Stakes at 38-1. So you get one of the absolute top riders at the meet, one of the top trainers at the meet. There's a lot to like about Tarnima in this particular spot, but you don't have to take 2-1 on this horse when you have somebody else you like Sugaree. Sugaree's only got to make up 3 lengths, gets a little bit more pace help perhaps in this race than they had down at Gulfstream when they walked on the front end. I would not be surprised with the rider upgrade to Pratt. Sugaree might be the better bet in this race. And if you're looking at multi-race wagers, I think you definitely want to use both of those runners. The 5 Parish Lane for an Eddie Keneally barn having maybe his best Keeneland meet that I can recall. He's having a tremendous meet. Not necessarily a 1.5 mile turf trainer when I think of Eddie Keneally, but this horse is certainly proven over a route of ground, just missed by a nose at the 1.5 mile. Parish Lane can certainly get the trip. I wouldn't be surprised if the 5's got something to say about the outcome of this race. This is a race to use multiple runners, 4, 6, 5. The 9 in here, Faith Understood, is a runner for Jonathan Thomas. This horse is coming off disappointing effort at Santa Anita, one of the few horses at Santa Anita that Thomas took out there that didn't run very well. But when you look at Faith Understood, this is a horse who's won over the course here at Keeneland back in April of 2024. And this field's made 3 combined starts at Keeneland, the entire field. Faith Understood, 1 for 1 over the track. The other 2 didn't get to the winner's circle. I don't think they hit the board either off the top of my head. But so, you get a little horse for course angle. 4, 6, 5, and 9, and I'm tossing the 3 that everybody else has here. But I think this is a race with good options. You can use multiple horses in here in terms of a pick 4, pick 5, pick 6. I've got Tarnima on top, but if you made me bet a win bet in this race, I'm going to watch the tote board and see between the 4, 6, 5, and 9, which one of those horses represents the best value. I don't think there's a major spread 1 through 4 in this particular race. I will use all 4 in the multi-race wagers and watch the tote board for an intra-race play. Let's go to the 7th race next up on the card at Keeneland as we roll on through this 8-race card. Feature race on this Thursday program is a second level, mile and a 16th allowance race on the main track. We've got a field of 7 in there, and in race number 7, let's go to the handicapper selections grid at Keeneland.com to see who we all lined up with. Chilled is top pick for Tom and for Gabby, or for Tom and Kim. Gabby and Scott are both on number 6 Landed, so a pair of aces and a pair of 6s. I went to the 5 Little Jamie, and Little Jamie gets no better than third call from the other handicappers in here. 7-2 in the morning line. Trainer Nacho Carrez is in a struggle, no doubt about it. He's only hitting less than 5% on the year. This horse is new to his barn. Robbie Medina had Little Jamie prior. I thought this horse is probably a good price landing to turn the tables on Landed. The 6 and the 5 have a rematch out of a race here last April. Landed won that day by a length and a half. I don't think there's a huge separation between the 2 of these. And Little Jamie maybe wakes up with the trainer change and has been a horse who's always nibbling around it and close. Took on good competition down at Oaklawn on the main track. And now you get Jose Ortiz to ride. I thought the 5 would offer some value. 7-2 in the morning line. A little bit shorter price in the morning line than I thought. I don't look at the morning line prices when I'm originally handicapping the races. I print them right away when the entries are drawn and then look at the morning lines after. I thought Little Jamie was going to be a value play in this race, and I thought maybe we could get somewhere around 5-1 or so. And matched up against Landed, I thought 5-1 on Little Jamie versus, 2-1, 9-5 on Landed. I would go with the better price. they're 5-2 and 7-2 in the morning line. If they're that close, I don't know that I'm wild about little Jamie. I want to get some value. I want to get a bigger number than that 7-2 to bet straight up. Certainly 5-6 definitely have to both be used when you look at the multi-race wagers. And number one, Chilled definitely has to be considered in there as well. Chilled running back second time at the meet, ran in November in the Mrs. Revere, came back here in the spring in April 6th, opening weekend. Runs back for trainer Vicky Oliver, trying to win 2 at the meet. Disqualified out of that win, though, on opening weekend, and so still eligible for the same condition. Running back in that condition, disqualified for lugging out in the stretch. But again, a horse who's run really well over the main track here at Keeneland. Top 3 finishes in 3 of the 4 starts here locally. So Chilled has to be respected in here. But I think maybe just 5 and 6. Let's just try to get through this race 2 deep, perhaps. In the one Chilled, if you get to 3 deep and you can afford it and your ticket structure warrants it, there's not a big gap between those 3. 5, 6, and 1. And if you look at the other handicappers, there's a lot of combinations of 5, 6, 1 amongst us there. So again, shop around a little. Little Jamie's a win bet in here for me at around 5-1. But it's 7-2, maybe not as much. But certainly respect that one and definitely a consideration for the exotic 6-5 box, a 1-5 box. We want to get the 5 in there in some form or fashion. And we also want to get to the 8th race because it's our final key play on the card and one of our better prices on the card here. Toyota Super High 5 race number 8, $10,587 in the carryover for the high 5. And I'm going with number 6 in here. Athalia. Athalia is 8-1 in the morning line. And look at the jump on this one. The 6 horse not picked on top by any of the other handicappers. A second choice for Scott, a third for Tom. This is kind of the feeling that we might get somewhere around that 8-1 price. Running back second time at the meet. Was scheduled to go 1 mile and an eighth on the turf. George Weaver left this one in back on opening weekend and just kind of ran around there. It was a slow pace, really didn't finish with much. That race could have taken absolutely nothing out of Athalia. Probably just legged him up a little bit, legged her up a little bit more. Her debut on turf was solid. Nice even race going 7.5 down at Gulfstream. I think she's drawn well right in the middle of this field. Flavian Pratt takes them out now. I like Athalia for George Weaver in race number 8. 8-1 in the morning line if we can get this one home to close out our day. Number 2, Just So Pretty, is the 8-5 morning line favorite for Danny Gargans. Had some wider draws of late, but this horse just doesn't quite finish the deal. I like the Gulfstream turf horses, that. But Just So Pretty has had chances. 6 starts and just kind of fades in that last call between the 16th pole call and the finish call. Loses ground almost every start. I'm a little worried about this one finishing the deal at 8-5. So I think this is a beatable favorite in here, which is why it makes it one of my key plays of the day. When you can beat the favorite and you have a fair price in doing so, it's a good race to try to jump on. Number 11, Love Song, a really well-bred Go Sapper music note filly. She ran a good one last time on the turf down at Fairgrounds with no pace help whatsoever. 114-1, and this horse was kind of lagging towards the back after 6 furlongs, was 6th in there, rallied up to run 2nd. Love Song is a horse with a little bit more pace help, can be very effective in here at 15-1. So I have the 2 in here Just So Pretty to run 2nd because the horse just kind of flattens late. But if I'm playing multi-race wagers, I'm tossing that horse. I would use the 6 on top, and I would also use the 11 on top. So we've got potential here at 8-1 and 15-1 morning line prices to get out of this last race 2 deep, beating the favorite with big price horses. I'm going to be in on the 6 and 11 in multi-race wagers to close this out. I'm also going to be on the 6 with a nice win bet as the horse I'm looking at. Also eligibles in this race certainly merit some consideration, so keep an eye on scratches and changes. 14 and 15 look like they could certainly play in this particular spot if they happen to draw in, as could the 16, who's run a decent race over this track as well for Steve Asmussen. So, again, watch the scratches and changes on how you want to play underneath in race number 8. But as for me, Athalia will be the top choice in here for me, no matter who's in the field. 6 and 11, the 2 price horses I'm going to try to get out with in the finale. Appreciate you watching tonight. Hopefully you get off to a good start on closing weekend tomorrow. First post is 1 o'clock for an 8-race card. Again, day 13 of 15. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Sunny skies. They anticipate fast and firm conditions in Lexington. Carryover in the Toyota Super High Five, $10,587. I will be back tomorrow with updates after scratches and changes are announced during the noon hour. So check me out on social media on X at Horseplayer Now and at Keeneland Racing with an update just prior to the card starting. And for my updated picks after scratch and changes tomorrow morning, be sure to sign up for Substack, where you can get them in your email inbox each and every racing day at Keeneland. You'll also get my scouting report, Countdown to the Crown, sent to you free each and every week as we take a look through the Triple Crown series. Certainly a valuable time to be taking part in that. And my Substack also includes handicapping picks and selections for various racetracks around the country. It's free. Sign up for the free publishing service Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. We'll be back 8:30 Eastern on Wednesday night as we handicap the Thursday Day 14 card at 8:30 Eastern. So be sure to join me then. Have a great day, everybody. Good luck on Wednesday.